Hey yo, my boys! Y'all know what it is, part two. Alright, so this is going to be, we're going to be going over tier 2 of the Xenoblade Iceberg. But before we get into that, after I had uploaded part 1 about a week ago, Espionkin, if you remember, one of the creators of this iceberg, they informed me that there was actually an E3 trailer for Monado Beginning of the World that I completely forgot about. So shout outs to them for the hookup, and I'm going to play that trailer for you right now. As you can see, there are quite a bit of differences between the E3 trailer of Monado Beginning of the World and the actual game of Xenoblade Chronicles. One of the most notable actually being Shulk's face. It has been redesigned. For Monado Beginning of the World, it looks like it takes on a more like rugged and serious look than in the finished game. But I thought it would be nice to just add this trailer as I forgot to put it in the last part. So with that out of the way, let's get on to tier 2 of the iceberg. So Memory Space is the final area in Xenoblade Chronicles, and it takes place in Zanza's memory before he actually becomes a god, which I'll get into in a second. But I find this one really cool, especially because of the last area. But in the memory space, there are 5 main areas. You start at Saturn, go to Jupiter, Mars, the Moon, and then in low orbit of the Earth. And in that final 5th area, with the low orbit of Earth, is called Sentient Genesis. And this may all not seem too significant, but if you've played through all of Xenoblade 2, then you might know where I'm going. But Xenoblade 2, Radamanthus' first low orbit station takes place in low orbit of the Earth. And near the end of the game, we find out that Zanza is actually Klaus's second half that was shot into an alternate dimension due to using the conduit to reset the universe. And Klaus was in Radamanthus, aka the first low orbit station, when he did that. So I guess like it's a nice foreshadowing of what was to come. And Zanza apparently still holds memories from Klaus from before the universe was reset. And I just really like how Xenoblade 1 and 2 cross over with each other in so many ways. Now this one is a very heavy and sensitive topic for some people, and I will try my best to cover it as best as I can and not offend anybody or their religion. But Xenoblade Chronicles is very, very Gnostic based. It has a lot of Gnostic themes and Gnosticism about it. And this video would be hours long if I were to go through every Gnostic piece in the game. So I'm just going to stick to the major Gnostic themes, such as Zanza, Maneth, and Elvis, each representing the Demiurge, Sophia, and Nod, respectively. Zanza believed himself to be the one true God of the world and believed that everything was living for his benefit, and all the life on Bionis was there to act as food and a vessel towards him, similar to the Demiurge was the ruler of the material world and believed himself to be the one true God and assumed control over everything, and everything was there for his benefit. And Maneth and Sophia are similar, both godly figures. However, opposed to the Demiurge, Sophia knew that she wasn't as powerful as Zanza had thought himself to be. Like, she knew she wasn't the one true God of the world, and she actually cared for humans and wanted to protect them and saw them as her children and take care of them. Similar to Maneth, she realized that neither her nor Zanza were actually the true rulers of the world, although Zanza was blinded by his arrogance. Maneth saw the Machina as her children and wanted to treat them with care and love. And ultimately, Zanza killed Maneth and took her Monado. Now, the most interesting one is Elvis, who is the Monad. And I like the little nod there. Elvis is the Monad, but Elvis is the Monado. It's basically just the same word with an O at the end. Anyway, Elvis is like Monad. Because Monad he wasn't like a true god per se, but he was the supreme ruler of the world. He didn't necessarily create the world, but he provided the necessary means of the creation of the world, and he exists in his own plane, so to speak. So he is stronger than Zanza and Maneth, but isn't the creator of the world, if that makes sense. And this is just scratching the surface of how many Gnostic themes and how heavily based on Gnosticism that Xenoblade actually is. And I'm sure you can find articles and videos upon videos about explaining this whole topic, but as a little, I'd say, appetizer to it, this is just insane how many Gnostic themes there are regarding this game. But I actually had fun searching this up. I didn't actually know any of this, and it makes a lot of sense, and I can see it pretty well. So let's move on to the next one. This one's pretty straightforward. Ryan has a phobia of spiders due to what Shulk had done to him during their childhood. Now, I don't specifically know what it was that Shulk did, probably some prank or something, but Ryan now has a phobia of spiders, and he was almost killed by one in Tephra Cave, and Shulk has to come save him with the Monado shield art. But that's basically all that it's talking about. Now, this one is simply just great. Uh, Moving the camera during cutscenes comes from Dolphin Emulator has a free look feature where you can move the camera wherever you want, whenever you want. So that means even during cutscenes. So this is more of like being able to move the camera outside of cutscenes, but the premise is basically the same. But it can actually lead to some really funny results. But this is basically what it's talking about, just using the free look feature in Dolphin Emulator to move the camera during cutscenes and see things that we weren't ever necessarily originally supposed to be seeing, like Shulk's head right here. But I think it's great, and there's so many meme-worthy moments with being able to move the camera during cutscenes. It's great. I know exactly what this is talking about, and it is so accurate. The ether mines is the worst area in the entire game. It's so slow and sluggish and just absolutely boring, mind-numbingly boring to play through. That it just has this magical innate ability to just drain the player of all their motivation to continue the game. So many playthroughs, I'm sure, have died in the ether mines and will stay there. The ether mines are so boring. It's really hard to continue the game after playing through the ether mines. This one's pretty straightforward and self-explanatory, but before the events of the game, at some point, Egil launches a reconstruction of the Bionis' left arm. Because if you remember, the left arm, or the fallen arm, was taken off during the battle between the Bionis and Mechanis. And at some point, Egil decided to reconstruct the left arm. And we can see that in game as the Mechanis actually has its left arm, but there's also the fallen arm in the sea. So that's what it's talking about. So, not to be confused with Bana from Xenoblade 2, is this iceberg is mainly focused on Xenoblade 1. This Bana is an NPC from Frontier Village who later becomes a villain, so to speak, in Future Connected. But it is revealed that Bana is actually a secret kingpin of a drug trade involving basically lacing food and drinks with red pollen orbs. And red pollen orbs are drugs in the Xenoblade universe. So Kingpin is running this massive drug trade around Bionis, and it's great because who'd have think this little safe and friendly looking Napon would be the kingpin of this massive drug trade and organization. But that's what it's referring to. Let's move on to the next point. The Black Wreckage is a landmark on the Fallen Arm near Digit 5 Beach, and it is the remains of Mumkar in his Metal Face Mechon. So there's not really much to say on this, except it's basically just Mumkar's remains. So I didn't even know this was even in the game, but that's basically it. Now I know exactly what this one is talking about, but unfortunately, I can't find anything about it. I can't find any articles, any videos, images, and nothing about it. I remember seeing this in a video a while ago, but I don't even remember what video that is. But essentially, it's talking about during the Colony 6 tutorial. I'm pretty sure it's from a glitch. Shulk can actually have two Monados on his back during the tutorial. I don't remember if it's from a glitch or some New Game Plus shenanigans, but it's just Shulk in possession of two Monados, although one of them is obviously just a graphical bug. But I apologize for not really having anything on this entry. But with that, let's move on to the next.
More importantly, eat up before it gets cold. I made something really special today.
Don't feel like you need to stay here then, Fiora. Go and make your next delivery.
Huh?
Well, I'm sure you'd like Shulk to try some while it's still hot.
That's okay. Shulk has no sense of taste. He'll say it's delicious even if it's stone cold.
And just like the Shulk not actually eating the sandwich meme or joke, this scene also, created another one that even if Shulk actually is eating the sandwich, he doesn't actually have a sense of taste. As Fiora said, he'll say it's great no matter what, even if it was stone cold. So Shulk's there's a lot going on with Shulk. This refers to rare materials that can be traded with Karalth in Valak Mountain during the Adventurers in Peril side quest. And they're called Mumkar's Razors. And if you remember, at the beginning of the game and during the middle of the game when he's revealed to be Metalface, he has like these Wolverine claw razor type things. And presumably that's what it's referring to. But it's cool that these merely insignificant rare materials are Mumkar's actual razors. That's some nice little world building. So Chief Dunga of Frontier Village picked Ricky to be the hero pawn in order to pay off his debt. Ricky owes the village a ton of money, and the best way for him to repay that debt is to become a hero pawn and defeat the Telethia. But why have me tell you when I can just let the legendary hero pawn himself explain it?
Oh, Ricky owe lots of monies to village. If Ricky defeat Dino Beast, village promised to forget my debts. So Ricky like being hero pawn.
Alright, this is the last point on Tier 2 of the Iceberg, and I say it's pretty fitting considering it's one of the more interesting parts of Tier 2. But in the game's files, Dixon actually has an unused jumping and falling animation, but considering he's only used in 2 parts of the games as an NPC, not even a playable character, and there's nowhere where you can take him to like fall off a cliff to see this jumping animation, it goes unused. And as you see on screen, it's been presumed that that he actually has a jumping animation because he shares his actual like character model or animations with Dunban. But that's about it for this one. Oh yeah, before I forget, I wanted to mention that this actually reminds me of Everdread's ghost animation. In Earthbound, when each party member dies, they have a little ghost sprite. And for some reason, Everdred has a ghost sprite in the files of the game. So that could have been implying that Everdred was supposed to be a party member at some point, because he also has a used jumping animation in game. But Earthbound has a plethora of unused content and mysteries and secrets about it. It's absolutely insane. You could write books on books on books on how many secrets Earthbound has. But I just wanted to mention this before I forgot. And with that, my boys, that is going to be tier 2 of the Xenoblade Iceberg. This video took me all day to make. I thought it was going to take less time than part 1, but actually took longer. But that's besides the point. I did have a lot of fun making this video and the last video. And I really do enjoy making these videos for this iceberg. So I'm going to be trying to upload at least one part per week. So look forward to part 3, tier 3 of the iceberg next week, towards the weekend. And again, go check out all of these legendary goats in the description. And that's about it. So as always, thanks for watching. Stay safe, have a damn good day, and play some Xenoblade.